Danny Ryan, the white of the Yorkshireman Dave Radford. Radford's won 14, lost 9, drawn 1 so far in his career. Never really fought anyone of major status until now, but he's been doing well. He's only defeating the last 8 against Kevin Thompson in a 6th rounder, and that was 15 months ago now. All that means he arrives here with plenty of self-belief. Maybe feels as if he's ready to step up a notch.
Well, Ryan's done an awful lot in this fight. He's worked very hard, and I think Radford may now feel it's time for him to start trying to take over and start working hard as the fight progresses.
There's no doubt when he was put in with, well, especially Jason Matthews, they were asking a lot of Ryan that early in his career.
Yes, they were. They were very difficult fights for him. And occasionally Ryan has to take a heavy punch, and I think that's when we really find out how he's recovered when he's under pressure. And really that's what Radford has to try and do, put Ryan under as much pressure as he can.
Again, a good right hand from him. Radford's occasionally doing some fair work himself, but Ryan looking the sharper still of the two of them.
Yes, Ryan's still the sharper, still getting off with the better quality of punch, but occasionally now he's having to take a heavy one back from Radford.
There is a bit of damage by that right eye of Radford. Again, he has success with the left hook, and again Ryan left himself open to the right hand to his own defence. Is not always that convincing. Something they need to work on with him, that, isn't it?
Yes, very much so, because if he took heavy punches with somebody who punches harder than Radford, Radford not known as a particularly big puncher, he could be very, very dangerous.
Oh, that's a good left hook, and he nearly had Radford over there. Certainly rocked him back onto his heels. And there is blood now seeping from that cut by the right eye. His right eye's closing up a little too, Radford. Starting to look the worse for wear. And these well-chosen shots, particularly the head shots from Ryan, are now taking their toll.
This is a hard and gritty fight, and Ryan often finds himself in tough fights like this. He should use a little more of his boxing ability.
Well, he's a tough, gritty old character, Dave Radford, and it's going to take more than a bit of swelling and a cut by that eye to stop him, but he has to take too many punches, doesn't he?
He does. He's taken far too many. His defense is very poor, keeps his hands down, and he just sticks his chin up in the air too much. But he's shown himself to be very tough, very determined. I'd just like to see him take the fight to Ryan a little bit more, because occasionally he does have some success, and Ryan's found to be very open himself.
Having to do some work on that right eye of Dave Radford's. There's the computer so far, which is Ryan's last 72 to Radford's 58, which is a bit closer than you would think.
Seconds out, round 4.
Into the second half of this one, round 4. The Irishman Danny Ryan in yellow. And again, that left hook, which has worked for him so often, finds its target, almost as if it's radar controlled. And again.
He's shown a nice variety of punches. You see the right hand went to the body, and then the left hook to the head, and then the uppercut. So he mixes it up quite well. You can see that he has decent quality.
Ryan was really, after those defeats, had to go right back and almost start his career again. He's hoping that he can be a reborn fighter Every win that he can chalk up will be of massive psychological value to him. Dave Radford's making him work hard for it, though.
Yes, he is. As it moves on, he gets more success himself. I think really Radford just needs to try and pick up the pace. He needs to try and do more.
But the Ryan we're watching here, I think, Glenn, is better than we ever saw from him when we watched him the other side of the pond, so to speak.
That's right. I think he certainly looks a lot better. He's improved. But again, there's still a lot to work on, especially defensively. He's got to get the hands up. He's got to learn to roll with punches a little better, not get caught when he lands his own.
No doubt that Ryan has a big points lead at this stage, which is not to say it's a formality. Radford might still be tough enough to provide some danger. Gets through with a left hand, and was Ryan momentarily stung by that? He just seemed to freeze for a second, almost as if he was like a statue there as one of those landed.
He just looked to try and drop in and hold for a split second, but he does that often when he finishes throwing his punches. He just falls in.
Now there's a cut now by Ryan's left eye, to the side of his left eye. Looked like a punch that did it. Finds a good right hand, but this is a rough and grueling little six-rounder. So we've now got both boxers cut here. You knew about Dave Radford's cut. In the other corner, Danny Ryan has picked up a cut too.
There's quite a bit of blood about with Ryan's cut. There you see the clash of heads which caused the cut on Ryan's eye.
Oh yeah, it was a clash of heads, wasn't it?
Bang together there.
Yeah, I wondered if was it the jab just before that, but it definitely was the head clash, wasn't it?
That was a little unlucky for Ryan because the fight was hard enough without getting that.
Nothing too serious though. The blood is not going to impair the vision or anything like that. It's not much more than a nick.
Seconds out. Round 5.
Fifth round of this, a good little scrap at middleweight. Donegal's Danny Ryan calls himself the Donegal Express in the yellow and black trunks. He's often had Dave Radford in a spot of bother with some good combinations without ever quite looking as if he's going to force the stoppage.
This is a really good, entertaining fight with both having successes. Ryan, the little cleaner, the better work, but Radford's tough and he's durable and he's still there throwing punches back.
Referee David Irving wanting a timeout. He's just taking a look at that cut by the side of the eye. I'm not sure it really warrants a stoppage in the action, but we're getting one anyway. Looks a minor cut to me.
It didn't look too bad. It's difficult to see because it does look as if it's in the hair of the eyebrow, so you can't really get a good look at it.
He's calling the doctor to have a look at it. It would be absolutely terrible if Ryan was to be stopped for that. And allowed to go on. Seemed a trifle on the fussy side, that from the ref, didn't you think?
It seemed to be because the blood was not really rushing into the eyes and it didn't look that bad, but he still had a look.
Radford has been lifted by this. Right hand getting through, and Ryan's defense is a problem for him. The cut looks a little bit worse now. Nothing you'd stop the fight for, or you'd think you wouldn't stop the fight for anyway. We don't make the decisions.
But Ryan is making this a very tough fight. You would think he could, with his boxing ability, he could make this fight a little easier.
Radford, I think, still thinks there's a glimmer of hope for him. Watch the use of the head, says the referee to both of them. Clearly worried about the fact that both of them are being cut. There's a left hand again from Ryan, but he is not a huge puncher. That much is apparent.
Yes, I think it's very apparent because he landed with lots of solid punches, flush on the jaw, and he's never been in that serious trouble, Radford.
Anybody remotely heavy-handed landing with shots like this for this long in this contest would surely have stopped their man by now, but it's going to be a problem for Ryan right the way through his career. The problem for him is really that he's neither brawler and banger or out-and-out stylist, is he?
That's right, and that makes it very, very difficult. And it also means that, you know, he's in for lots of tough fights, and you know, the fights that he should win well are always going to be hard because he didn't carry that big punch.
As he gets here, a fight he's been dominating, he's now being dragged into the trenches of it late on. And Radford won that round, I think.
Well, the end of as the fight goes on, certainly it's starting to suit Radford. He's making Danny Ryan work very, very hard. In the fourth round, I'd probably give it even. In the fifth, I would have just lent for Radford. So he's getting more success as the fight goes on, and he's finishing the stronger.
Oh, that really was a clash of heads. It's a wonder there wasn't another cut caused by that. I've got a headache watching that.
Well, I think the referee had to have a word with them at that point and give them a little talking to about the use of the heads.
There's a computer rate. The success rate is exactly the same, but Ryan is landing fractionally more, not much more. I think it's better quality work from him overall in the contest. But is there hope still for Radford?
Second and final round.
Last round, and the Ulster Hall crowd in this atmospheric arena have really enjoyed this undercard bout, as have we at ringside. Ryan in the yellow trunks must have a significant points lead, but it's become very hard work for him. There's your scorecard, Glenn.
Yes, I've got Ryan in that little lead there. Just for me, he's in the cleaner work early in the fight, but it's become very hard for him as the fight's all run. It has been a very entertaining fight. It's only a 6-round fight, but it means so much to these men.
Pay tribute to the grit of Dave Radford here. The old cliche about Yorkshire grit given some meaning in this contest, all right. And Radford just may think that he can turn this around. Ryan's work has begun to get a bit sloppy the longer this has gone on. He really caught a left hook there, Danny Ryan. And after doing some good work in the first 3-4 rounds of this, you have to say that he's turning this into a real struggle, and he's giving Radford some big chances.
Yes, he worked very hard in the early rounds, Ryan. Went for the knockout, threw a lot of punches. And paying for it a little bit here in the late stages because he's very tired.
Good right uppercut from Ryan. One or two people are on their feet, stamping their feet. They've really enjoyed this.
I think a bit of tape has come loose from the glove, stopping the action for a second.
Which is a shame, because it's been some exciting action. Maybe the work not altogether that clean or scientific, but crowd are enjoying it, and there are chances of Danny, the crowd trying to lift the home fighter through here. Ryan has to be careful as the heads come dangerously close again.
Well, as the fight's gone on, it's become more evident how leaky Danny Ryan's defence is, and he's had to take good punches himself.
Mind you, if he's going to feature in fights like this, he may not reach championship level, but he's going to earn plenty for a while, isn't he?
Yes, he certainly is. This is the promoter's dream. They like a fight like this, really warms the crowd up, and they're certainly enjoying this one.
Radford's come back well, but I think he does need the knockout or stoppage if he's going to deny Ryan a victory. Although there's no telling how this referee may be scoring it. Good left hand again from Radford, who's done all his best work in the last couple of rounds.
Certainly the work from Radford is not technical or polished. He just works hard and gets them arms out.
Ryan might be glad this is not an 8-rounder.
I think he will be. I think he's won it, but
he's scoring it a draw. He's seen that as a draw, and so Radford did enough on the scorecard of the referee to come back and share that one late on. He certainly won the last 2 rounds, and I suppose if you gave him the third as well, which I think you and I had even, Glenn, then you couldn't argue too much with that.
No, you couldn't. It was a very close fight. I give Radford the last round, so I just had Ryan slightly win. But look at the stats. Landed just one punch separating them. So the computer said it very similar as well. A very close fight.
I think the computer scored it a draw as well, didn't it?
I think it did.
Maybe we should let that do the work. Don't give them ideas. They tried it in amateur boxing, and look what happened. Well, it was a cracking undercard fight there, and the crowd got good value for money, although Ryan now has 2 draws in his last 3.
And he's showing a few lumps and bumps for what should have been a small fight.
And with a better defence, if he worked on his defence, that had to be a fight he would have won.
Yes, you would have thought so. Just left himself far too open.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's rare in professional boxing, but the referee would like to congratulate both boxers. That was an excellent contest. Referee D. Irving scores it 58.5 apiece. It's a draw.
A good draw, and I'm just getting reports from Radford's corner. They think their man broke his right hand in the second round of that contest. That's yet to be confirmed. If so, his performance was even more remarkable.
A lot of commitment showed on both sides, but Barry, I venture to suggest that the only loser in the whole auditorium tonight about that was Ryan himself. He needed to win that fight.
Yeah, he's making an honest costume of it. He's making a habit of these tough fights. But you know, it's not, what it's doing for his long-term career ambitions is another thing. He should have been too good for Dave Radford tonight, but Radford's a tough guy, and he made it hard for him. I just don't know how much further poor old Danny's going to go. He's a good one, but whether he's going to win a title is another thing.
And the fighting none will replace him. All right, to the more serious stuff.